afternoon all. My name is Steve Walker. I head up local government services at Cloudy IT. Some of you may have seen us at ADSO or at other events recently, or we may have heard of us from our work that we do in the town and parish sector, and some of the principal authorities that we've done some work with. I'm joined by David Hall, who's the managing director of Cloudy. David.
Hi there.
And Tina Cunnell, who's part of our decisions delivery team and focuses around the training that we have in place for it for both officers and members. And we're also joined by Kevin from Decisions as well. So, and Kevin's one of the enterprise sales team, if that's the right title, Kevin. Yes,
that's right. Yeah, nice to see you all.
Lovely. So again, if you've got any questions, we'll raise this during the presentation. We're happy to answer them in chat, or if you're using Teams, the raise a hand feature up on the top toolbar, you can just put a hand up there. So either way, David, Tina, and myself and Kevin will man the chat at different points and try and answer as many questions as we go along. Also, during the demonstration, if there's any points that you want us to focus on or aspects of decisions you want us to look over, then mention that and we'll go back over that. So very quick overview of the team. Dan is here. Is Dan here, David?
He's not at the moment. No, he might jump in at the last minute. Yeah.
Dan is the business development manager at Cloudy. So for those of you at principal authorities, it would be Dan that you'd be mostly dealing with when it comes to the services that we have. So what we're going to cover in the webinar, we'll have a look at the decisions package itself, what benefits come from it. We'll have a walk through the process from the start to the end. We'll demonstrate some of the AI features that it does. We'll also introduce you to GovMeetings, which is some AI generated assistance that we have across a couple of packages, especially for principals that are using Copilot. There's a couple of bits there that you might find of interest. We'll show a couple of some of the promotions we have for the council sector, and then we'll run through a bit of a Q&A, and then again some upcoming webinars that we have along with some training where for Cloudy you can drop in, and members of the team, myself, Tina, John, are normally present, and you can just have a quick catch up with us, which again, officers and members, if you've got that spare half an hour in the day or evening, we're normally about, and you can just jump on and have a bit of a chat. So what are the benefits for Decisions? If you've not seen Decisions or you've just popped onto the website and had a quick look, it's a very secure package. It's built on top of the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So all of your security policies and best practice, it takes and aligns nicely with those. For GDPR, again, it obeys boundary rules for data protection. There's no offshore processing of the information, whether that's using its AI features or document storage. It's all within your 365 tenant environment. It has full support for hybrid meetings. So this is something that's come back on. I know last year it sort of looked like it'd gone out into the long grass, but this year it is clearly back in focus. And if you are using a package like Decisions, you are absolutely ready for hybrid meeting support. So if you have suitable AV equipment at your council and you're using Decisions, you can have that fully integrated experience with both local and remote members. It also supports secure electronic voting as well. So you can cast a vote from an agenda item and track that electronically, whether it's via the in-meeting experience in Microsoft Teams, the Decisions app, or the app deployed to an iOS or Android device. So that's really quite exciting. There is some time savings. We've done a couple of case studies. Decisions have as well. Over a manual process end to end, it's about 30% roughly. If you said 3 hours to do something, you'd save an hour using Decisions with its follow-up, its actions into Planner, and its high degree of automation. So there are some real savings to be seen from using the package over a manual workflow that you might have. And again, the AI, there's a lot of manual work that you might do. So in the demo, I'm gonna build us a very quick agenda using its built-in AI, and you can see how quick that works. Again, with meeting recaps, they're ideal for exec reports if someone wants an exec summary of a meeting, or maybe you've got a large number of reports in a meeting, that the recap is really good at sort of trimming that, the fat off that and giving you just the headlines, and it's a couple of clicks and you're there. So that's really quite exciting. But we're really lucky. We're joined today by Lance, who is Town Clerk and Chief Exec at Trowbridge Town Council. And before we sort of go down the demo route, Lance has got a sort of a couple of words about his experience with decisions, which you've had probably over a year now, maybe coming up probably to the second year now that you've had it, Lance. So, feel free.
Thanks, Steve. Hi, everybody. As Steve said, I'm the Town Clerk and Chief Exec. We're a reasonably large town council, but in the position I am in, I'm quite hands-on with using decisions for agenda compilation, working alongside the council secretary at Trowbridge, who is the main person who's responsible for our agendas and minutes. Just picking up on what Steve said there in terms of time saving, since we took on decisions, the council secretary, who was full-time before we took on, has taken on some additional responsibilities because it's freed up some of her time to do those, whereas before she was just full-time on agendas and minutes. She now looks after the mayor's diary and grants administration as well to fill that time that was being freed up by the advantages that decisions has given us. One of the big advantages is it sort of can be used by the whole team. So the managers who are reporting to our committees are able to, sort of use the system to put their own information directly onto the agenda as and when information arises. It doesn't have to be sort of sent as an email to somebody else and saved somewhere else and sent, via other people. So it's very, as it were, user friendly for everybody who's involved in those meetings. We have 21 councillors who are using decisions, and a lot of them will go into the system on their pads when they're in the meeting. And we also do some hybrid work using the system as well. So for some of our informal meetings, then councillors will join us online and be able to follow everything on the agenda using decisions. But no, it's been a real good move for us. And as Steve says, it was just about 2 years ago this month, I think, that we started using it. And we've made lots of progress with the system in that time. I've not been a user of other similar software, but I have been, I regularly am somebody who sort of attends Welsh Council meetings and watches those meetings and follows the agendas. And there's one or two things, particularly around the attachments to agendas, which I think I find decisions is easier to use than what I'm sort of seeing as it were, member of the public attending Welsh Council meetings, or viewing their meetings or looking at their agendas. So as I say, although I've not been a user of other software, other software that Welsh Council use, I do sort of identify some ease with which decisions makes it user-friendly for members of the public accessing agendas, councillors accessing agendas, and officers building those agendas.
Lance, Lance, thank you very much. And I feel your experience of the package, and as you say, Trowbridge is a large town council. It is typical amongst the larger town councils. Officers' time, there's a lot of pressure on them, especially with the growing number of committees, task to finish, or working groups that exist. And packages like this, as you've explained, they do bring some real-time savings to a lot of manual processes that are typical across a lot of the council operations. There is a lot of manual work involved in a lot of the day-to-day activities, and smart packages like this do bring genuine savings.
Yeah, definitely. Production of minutes is probably something where we've had significant savings in time used by officers. And it's also the speed at which those minutes can then get published and circulated to councillors for to be signed off.
Yeah. So real benefit. So thank you, Lance, and Lance is staying with us for the duration of the sort of webinar today, and we'll be more than happy to answer anyone's questions as we sort of move through the process towards the sort of Q&A session at the end. So we touched on AI features, and what can it do. So as Lance has said, its ability to produce the minutes using its internal systems are really, really quick. But once you add AI into the mix, if you are recording or transcribing your meeting, you can use that capability within decisions to augment your manual minute notes that you've taken. You've either taken a lot of shorthand notes. You can use AI then to fill in any other areas, or you can use AI to fully produce the minutes and then edit them down to suit your need. And as we can see, it will also capture any tasks or actions that have been raised. So if you say, Officer X, this is something for you to action, it will catch up with that and tag the corresponding people into that part of it, which is again is really exciting nowadays, with a lot of councils having access to very decent high-end AV equipment that really does capture everybody who's speaking around a committee or council meeting. That transcript is very accurate nowadays compared to sort of very earlier attempts at doing that, and there's a high degree of confidence that it does capture everything. And again, along with manual minute taking, you've got the advantage, you've got the two ways of creating that all important document. So what we'll go over in the demonstration, well, how you manage agendas in it. So there's a couple of ways of doing it. You can start from scratch. You can use a standing items template, or you can use some AI. So I'll show you a bit of how the AI works. We'll do a bit of minutes and actions. We'll look at how collaboration works with it and co-authoring, and Lance mentioned that, and that's one of the other exciting options that Decisions brings. You can in real time collaborate with each other on draft agendas. So if you've got a couple of finance officers and maybe environment or operational officers, you could all work on the same agenda, adding in your reports, your comments, your notes into that in real time, and you'll see a banner appear as people work on the agenda. No saving it and emailing someone or messaging them saying, oh, could you add your bits into this? It can be done in real time, and that's quite exciting. AI recap is again really, really useful. If you've got quite a long lengthy set of minutes from a meeting, you can use the recap feature to simplify and just extract the headlines from that, and that might be something for your website as a preface to the meeting minutes and any other notes, or it might be something you use internally as an exec report. It's also very, very useful in conjunction with our other packages, GovMeetings. If you've got large officer reports, officers can then use the tools that we make available to provide a cover sheet, again identifying points of the report that members or other committee personnel might be interested in reviewing. And again, that retrieval and analysis with GovMeetings is something that we will also look at during the demonstration to give you an idea of the capabilities of the system. So I'll flip over to a live demonstration. I'll get it up on the screen. We'll have a bit of a walkthrough. There is a raise your hand feature that I went over earlier on that will highlight the yellow box around you and put your hand up. And my colleagues that I'm here with today will drop into chat and try to answer as many questions as possible. Again, there may be information that you require that we might have to follow up with after the webinar. If there is, if you could leave your details in the chat, one of my colleagues or myself will catch up with you then. Thank you. So I'll swap over, and what I'll do, I'll share a typical decision screen that you will see when looking or opening the package. So you've got a couple of ways of doing it. You can do it from within Microsoft Teams. So it appears on the toolbar here, and this will give you an overview. So it's very deeply integrated, or you can have the Decisions app and you can open it that way. So you've got a couple of ways of looking at it. So for the demonstration, I'm going to use the Decisions app, which is just a shortcut on your desktop, and it's no different. The experience is the same as running it in Teams, but for this, I'll give an overview of here. Again, you've got a front page dashboard, gives you details of meetings that you've got going on and so forth. So today's focus, we're going to look at a senior leadership team meeting. And as we mentioned earlier on, I can start from scratch, so I can build my agenda manually. I can use a preset template, and what I can have as many of these as I want. And this is one of the features that we have a lot of officers that are really that have delved deep into the system will have templates for more or less all of their meeting types that they have. And you can use it from, my example, one-to-one appraisals all the way up to full meetings, different committees, authorities. It's got a lot of uses, and you can have as many of these as you want, or you're able to use AI, and you can build your agenda using AI. So you've got a couple of choices on how you do that. So we'll start with a template, and we'll say we want an SLT meeting, and it will give us a good starting point. If that's probably not what we want to use, we want to look at something else. Let's say an appraisal. We can do it like this, and then it will capture all of that information. So we'll start there. Again, as we said, it's fully integrated into Teams, so it will give me suggested places where I will keep this. So I'm going to put it under resources for the sake of this. Once we're here, we're in the main agenda screen. So here are all of the items that we had. It will show me who's been invited to this meeting. Its status is draft. It also exposes some of the Teams options, so we can enable automatic recordings because we want to take advantage of its AI capabilities, especially around meeting recaps and minute generation. And I can adjust some of the meeting options in here as well. So at this stage, I might want to add in some reports into this. I might want to do this as a pack that I'm going to distribute, and I've got a couple of ways of being able to do that. A really simple way is to just browse, explore like you would normally, where you would go and get some documents. So I'll just grab a couple here, and I can drag those documents onto here, and I can show you another couple of bits that are new. So it's just that I can drag and drop. So all standard documents are supported: PDFs, Word documents, Excel, and so forth. You can drag and drop all of them on. If you've got Word documents, you can automatically convert them to PDF as well. And what it will do is remove the Word version of that document and replace it with a PDF version for you. So that's really useful if you've got a lot of spreadsheets or maybe other documents from other packages. It will give you the items on that report. So again, really, really quick and easy features to use. Editing, again, is similar, for all of you that are familiar with editing something, if you want to bold, it's exactly the same as any standard edit. If you've got someone who's going to be speaking, you can just tag that person in. It gives you an idea of how long that section might last. So you might say 10 minutes in this case, and this is purely for information. So it's a very flexible package and very, very quick to work on. So again, for each agenda item, it would be possible to say who would be speaking or who is that presenting that report. So if you've got quite a lot of reports, several officers involved, it's a really, really quick way of tagging them in. Readjusting the running order, again, you may look at that and think, oh, these I want to have ahead. Again, it's just a question of drag and drop, and it will reorder that agenda in real time. So this is visible once published to anyone who is invited to the meeting. They will have a notification sent to them that there is an agenda that's been published for a meeting. For officers that are managing the meeting, whilst it is in draft state, they are the only ones that can see that. So you regard it as a meeting admin, so that you are able to work on this together without notifying attendees. And when we want to go live, it will send an updated message to those that are attending, and that will turn on that particular agenda so that it's now accessible to other people. And it gives us some options on how we want to notify people. So again, really, really useful. By default, it will put a message into a Teams channel, but you could include email and you could update the meeting invitation. So if that calendar information that they have in Outlook or similar, it will put a note in there. And again, I could write them a custom message, hi committee members, the meeting's coming up on this Friday. Decisions does all that automatically for you in the background. So again, you're not having to send a separate email. You're not having to drag and drop documents to people. They would have received a link now that would take them to the decision system, and they would be able to then go and look at this information and interact with. They don't get any editing options because obviously they're only attendees, so that they will only be able to view this. You may also have a need for distributing this as a PDF, maybe publishing it somewhere, or some members may want it printed, and there's a quick way of doing this. We can make a report pack or a meeting book. And again, these are customizable to suit your needs. In our pretend cloudy town council we have here, we've got a template document. They're all based on Microsoft Word and they're all fully customizable. And this will list all of the items, and I want to put this together into one document. So this will fill in the details of the meeting. It will add all of my agenda items in, and then it will merge all of the content. So whether they are PDF, Word, or Excel, or similar Office files, it will put them together into one PDF document, which you could email off to somebody, you could print, or you could distribute separately. There's a link for the document that you can send around. And again, all of these processes are done inside here. So I think I saw a question there from Sharon. Effectively, this document here, ignoring restricted items and so forth, is publishable straight on. We can see here it's put together our front sheet agenda, and then all of the reports have been attached in here. I hope you can all see them. I've used a couple of generic documents for it. So that is effectively web ready. So you could then send that up, like I say, beyond restricted documents, which again, it handles really, really well. You could publish this up onto your website. And again, it is a click, and there we have the actual PDF file. If I click on that, it will probably open Edge and show us that. So that's that part of the process done. If I come and here, back in Word, we've got our PDF. We've got a list of everybody that's coming to the meeting. And I'm also able to add externals. So at a larger authority, you may have officers that handle your web content or internal distribution of committee information. You could add that in. So in my example, I could pick on Councillor John Smith. I can add in people, and I can also add in external recipients as well. Those that aren't attending the meeting, it would send them an email. I could leave a note down here, press send, and that's emailed everybody that PDF document or a link to it. So again, a lot of automation involved. A lot of manual processes have gone. We put all our documents together into one PDF document that we can open. I can update that. So if extra reports came in, I could update that and send a notification around that the meeting book has been updated. And it is the same link to end users. And this is one of those really good benefits of decisions. If I say that there are a couple of reports to follow, I'll republish the meeting book later. It's possible to do that in here, and it will ping a notification to those that have received the original email that there is an update. The other useful feature, and I'll only touch on it really, really quickly, is your ability to annotate your own copy. So this will make a personal version of that meeting book, obviously the caveats over it being updated, that you are then able to highlight certain parts and think these bits I want to focus on. I might want to look at an option here, and this is my version, so this is only available to me unless I choose to share that with someone else. That version of this document is mine. So instead of printing off a couple of reports and making some notes on them, I can do it here electronically. And these are cloud synced, so if I was to open this up on my tablet device or my mobile phone, I would see the same annotated version if I logged in with my Microsoft 365 account. If I go back to viewing it, there's my viewed document with my changes incorporated into it. And you'll see that an A has appeared here to show that, to me personally, I have an annotated copy of that meeting book. So again, you've got some really useful features. It's very green. Insofar as you're not printing everything off to make notes on it, you can do them in here. If you have a tablet device, it's very, very easy to use. If you've got a stylus on an iPad or similar, you can write your notes down the side of the meeting book, and during the meeting you can scroll up and see them. So that's one really, really useful feature. Again, along with comments, I might want to leave a comment for Mark. So this uses, again, it's deep integration into 365. It makes great use of Teams. Speak to me about this, and I can send that. And again, that's a private message between myself and, in this instance, Mark. And I might want him to talk to me about this beforehand. Again, it's also useful if someone's arrived at sent apologies and someone's attending on their behalf. There are scenarios where you might want to leave that person some information on an agenda item or items that you may have some thoughts on. You could do that in a private conversation, visible only to you and them. So there's a couple of ways you could work. You could have some notes and annotations, and you are also able to comment to individuals. Or I could come down in here and say, all those meeting admins or all those in meeting chat, I've got some control over who sees that. So I might leave a note for other officers that are managing the agenda, that a couple of reports aren't going to be here in time. We might have to circulate them separately. Everybody's kept in the loop to that process. So that's how comments work. Minute taking, again, there are several ways of doing it. You can do it using AI and a transcript. Obviously, in our demonstration meeting, there's no transcript, or you can do them manually. You can use OneNote to, again, decisions is a bit of a gateway package. You can use OneNote to record that information, or you could record your minutes straight into Microsoft Word. So again, depending on the processes you have that exist currently, I could turn around and say, right, what I want to do. In my example, I can't use AI at the moment because I haven't got a transcript, but I will merge them. I'll take my agenda item. I want to take some tasks, and we'll just note that Rachel wasn't present today. So again, a little bit of automation, and it's put everything together for me. I have my action list here, and I've got my agenda items. And because this is now Word, I can freely begin to write my into there. Hold, and we'll make that a color, so just to make it visible. There we go. And I can do that all the way down each one as I come and go, and we can see them all getting built up. So again, it's one of those really useful features that however you currently work, decisions doesn't really change that. It will adapt to what you are currently doing. There we go. So we'll get that in line there. There we go. So again, I've done all that. I've captured that. One of the other really good benefits is following up actions and tasks and decisions that you make. And decisions uses some smart text for that. And again, this is really good. So if you imagine we had an action, I'll default an action to do this important task later this year, I don't know, 1/12/24, something like that. I can capture information like that. I'll grab that and I'll cheat a little bit. We'll put that in a couple of them, and we can stack them up like that to do this important task as well. And what decisions does is scans a document looking for phrases that it recognizes in its smart text as something you may want to capture. And it can do the same, and we can see here it's found, oh, there's 3 things that it's noticed. We can also do that for decisions. So, you know, anything that you've resolved to do, I could say in here, there was a decision to resolve to do this and then do the action. So I can do it like that. I can stack a decision and an action. And again, it will go through, and you'll notice where I've got the red 3 here, it will see that I've got a decision down here as well. It will track that. And I can increase that. I can record my decisions. I can record my actions, and I can stack them up like so. And they will all be in here. If I manually ask it, there we go. So it's found that decision to resolve to do this, and then it's found some tasks in here. So I am then able to save those, and we'll notice it's doing some highlighting on here and has put them into the corresponding locations. So at this point now, I might have a couple of processes. I might send off my meeting minutes for someone to review. I'm able to do that automatically. You know, I could say my example, the deputy in this case, please review and feed back to me. The deputy comes back and says, do you know what? They look absolutely fine to me. I don't see any problems with them. I'm then able to maybe watermark them or apply some other notes to them, maybe an electronic signature or something similar. And I can then send them round to those that were present. I could say that this might be, you know, I have draft, but you could have unapproved, confidential, or so forth. This will again automatically produce that all-important PDF document that we were saying earlier on. There's no need to drop in and out of different applications. Decisions does it all for you. That PDF will be made. Once that's made, once that's available, it will then, exactly the same as the meeting book, offer to email it to all those that attended that meeting. And again, you can expand that list by adding in external recipients as well. So someone may have asked, you know, can I have a copy of the minutes for that? So we'll have John and Mark in there, and it will add them in accordingly. I can put some comments, and it's done. It's sent it to everybody. So anyone who was on the recipient list here has now received the PDF version of this document. And that's the decisions process end to end. We've gone really quickly through how this works. You'll notice that it's also locked this meeting now because it realizes that we've gone and produced a PDF minute. For those tasks and actions that we had and that decision, they are listed. So it's captured in here, the decision that I've made along with all my other decisions. And if there is a suitable minute document, it's hyperlinked that for me. The same with the tasks. I can ask this for tasks from this meeting. So they are the 3 tasks that this meeting has generated. I've got them in here. I've captured them in here. I could look at them in Excel, or I could look at them in Planner. So again, beyond the scope of the meeting, I could work in Microsoft Planner in this particular meeting. If I just scroll over, there we go, in here in my to-do list, and I could assign them to other people that weren't necessarily present at that meeting. I can do that and just tag them like I normally would do inside any Microsoft product. Really useful. Again, this view that decisions gives you is you're normally one click away from the information. So if I go into here, I look at this, it's been assigned to me, I wasn't at the meeting, I need some more details, I can click on the link and it will take me to the agenda item in that meeting where that task and that decision were made, and I can view the decision, as we can see here, and I can also view the tasks that were sent to me there. So again, a really good way of going around that information. I could put my updates in here and they would be tracked back from Planner into here. So if I'd added some due dates, if it was in progress, if it had been assigned to someone, this list will update with that information. So really joined up. I haven't had to drop in to out. I haven't had to save anything to a desktop or a folder. I've not had to copy anything about. It's all done within one really simple interface. So I know at this point my colleagues have been sort of manning the chat. Are there any questions or points that anyone would want me to look at really quickly before we look at some of the AI features, or David, I'll put at all?
Yeah, no, we've done. It's been just really about the web presence side of thing and the app to push the agendas and minutes information to the website, which I've said we've got one at the moment. So I think that's the main one that came up, Steve. Unless there's anything else, we're going to try to do some Q&A at the end. We've probably got about 15 minutes worth of AI
I'll drop into
goodness
some
now.
AI, and
Steve?
I'll show a couple of bits on AI.
Yeah.
So sorry. So what I will do is, so from a decisions perspective, like I say, that's your end-to-end process now. And if I come back here, we'll see I've got my meeting minutes, I've got my agenda summary. And this applies for any meeting where I have this particular information. I can just quickly scroll backwards and forwards. It's also very fast. If I wanted to see, now I might have done a few demo meetings, we've got about 2.5, maybe 3 years worth of meetings in our demonstration environment, which is fairly typical of the information that a council would have. We tend to do a meeting, some reports and minutes from it, but we can very quickly then go and look at that information. So here there was a demo, I've got my minutes, I've also got my electronic recap that we mentioned. So this has been done by AI, and this has put that together based on a transcript, or based on the information that it's picked up from the minute document. So where we've used transcripts, here's a demo AI meeting. So again, we've got a meeting recap. So this recap here has been generated from the transcripts. So it's quick overview, summary of the meeting, some takeaways, any decisions that have been made, and any actions that come from that. It's captured all of those. So it's a really nice preface to sort of maybe the recording or the agenda and the minutes. You've got this sort of overview, and it's not taking you any extra time to do it. It's a button, and then it will go and pull this together and make it available so that you can just go backwards and forwards through your meetings, and where you've generated a recap for them, you'll be able to see that on this screen. The other thing it's really good at is in data searching. Again, councils are really information rich, and sometimes someone may ask you a question about, oh, when did we last look at this, or when did we do this, or have we discussed this? Decisions is really fast at finding that information. So quite a while ago, we had a discussion on the A444, and it's found all references to that in agenda items, in any reports or documents or minutes. It's found where that term is. And again, it's pretty quick. If we put it something that's probably mentioned often, by fate, there we go. It will go off and have a look through that information across. So it uses SharePoint for its storage. So all of this information, it will trawl through and find any reference to that. I gave it something I know that's mentioned quite often. But as we can see, it's in task lists, it's in meeting books, calendar entries, agenda items. So it's a really thorough search. So for officers that happen to be looking for some information, it's a really useful tool. Even in meeting, in a committee, and a member says, "Oh, is this in something?" You can do a quick search. You can go straight to the document from there, open it, say, "Yeah, here's the information." You can even, again, if they are part of that team and you've looked at that particular document and you've asked a question, you can use that comment feature. So we'll go to here. So this meeting slot, but I could go to that comment feature in here and say, this is it, and send that live. So that, again, that person would get that. They could click and go straight to that piece of information. So really, really useful.
Steve,
So what I'll do, I'll drop out
a
of this
recap. Do you reckon you'll be able to do a quick recap? Though
now.
I saw the recap
Not at the
button
moment,
was
I can't,
there.
I'm afraid.
Okay, cool. No
Okay.
worries. Cool. Yeah, good.
I've got to show another couple. So
yeah,
what we'll do, we'll have a look at some of the AI integration that goes with this that's useful by other tools. So I should just share my screen again. I hope everybody can see this. So we've got a couple of agents that are able to interrogate the SharePoint information. We have a ChatGPT based one that you can ask questions to, and again, for those of you that have experimented with ChatGPT or AI, so this uses a council that I'm a member on. It will go review that meeting material. So it will look for agendas, minutes, and reports, and it can produce a humanized report based on that information. And again, it's just looking through the SharePoint information that you've got. We also have exactly the same thing as a Copilot agent. A lot of principal authorities are very active with Copilot at the moment, so we have an agent written for them, and I can ask it to recap a meeting. So in this case, let's say June 2024, and if there are any actions. And again, it's using that the same SharePoint information repository that we saw decisions using. So here we go. It's gone through. It's looked at the meeting recap that exists for that meeting. And then here are some action items. And again, it's given me links to those documents. And if there's any additional prompting, I might want to look to see who contributed to this particular meeting book, and it will go through and give me all of the details, and there I am. So again, we've got capabilities for ChatGPT based meeting management, meeting review. You could produce reports from this. Can you put this into a table or a report? And again, for those of you that have worked with ChatGPT or similar, you will see it's able to do that. So you may want to use this in something additional. With suitable connectors to your 365. At the end of this, I could say, that's fantastic. Could you email this to David or Tina? They may want this for a report. Or this may be some information that someone external, Lance, has said, Steve, could you give me an idea on this? I need it for a report. I could do this, and I can ask it just to email that over to, and that table, that information will go. So it's presented in a nice way. And I can do exactly the same in here. I could say, can you attach this to a meeting entry, or can you email this on? So the capabilities we have exist not only in this format, and again, you can use natural language queries while talking to ChatGPT. You can do exactly the same in here for those of you with Copilot. And again, Decisions AI works the same way. So you've got access to minute creation, you've got access to recaps from transcripts, and then you've got tools beyond that where you can search previous meetings looking for additional information. So both of them work hand in hand with the decisions package, and they enhance its AI capabilities, which again are improving all of the time. So the recap feature has just had a massive boost from decisions in its capabilities, in its speed, and that's again something that we have noticed in using it, that it's able to get to certain points really, really quickly now, and you can refine that. You can ask it to simplify, you can ask it to explain.
Yeah, the translation's pretty good as well, isn't it, Steve?
Translation is good as well. So if you've got a multilingual audience and you ask it to translate maybe the recap or the minutes into a different language, it's good. again, with all automated generated content, it needs a bit of human oversight. But if you're translating it into another language, it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And here up on the screen, I've just put a note up what Copilot and Decisions and GovMeetings can do together. You've got a lot of document management capability where you can combine information together. Again, Copilot, the agents are custom and they have a sector specific knowledge. So if I asked it to build me an agenda for a meeting and I wanted the relevant parts of a particular act included, it would understand. Again, your data's ring fenced. So if it's inside your 365 tenant, it's ring fenced. It's not going beyond your boundaries. And there very, very quickly, sorry, I'll just go back a slide. There is a mobile app for it. So as we can see here, works on iOS or Android, gives you an overview of your meetings. I'll just put my little overview of your meetings, any agenda items you then have, and then the reports as well, we can see down here, which you're then able to browse and annotate on a mobile device. And as Wales has with electronic voting and that capability, if we get that, this is what a vote would look like. So a call to vote would bring up what the actual vote is, and then we get our yes, no, and abstain options. It also has a capability for recorded votes. So again, you've got a degree of control over that. And there is some automation during setup. You give X number of people voting rights. So once everybody has voted, it would automatically then close off that vote and notify the officer running on that particular part of it that the vote has now finished. So I think at time, looking at what we've got left, I think that's probably 10 minutes. Any questions from anybody at all? I know in chat everybody's been sort of getting quite involved, and that's great. But is there any questions for any of us? Kevin, David, Lance, or myself, or Tina?
What you could do, Steve, whilst waiting for some to come through, maybe to show the decisions recap, which is a nice feature on the screen, but there's a lot of AI built into what we're doing here today, and it's a big area of clear growth and conversation for lots of people. But yeah, I mean, if there's any questions you'd want Steve to focus on more, obviously we're happy to do a separate session should anyone want one-to-one, maybe go back and have some thoughts on it. We're happy to do that. Or if obviously you're at ADSO next week, we'll be there, Steve and myself and the team, and we can run through it.
No, I'll just say I think that's I can only say the process is very slick. The onboarding is again fairly pain-free. There's a couple of questionnaires that we send out. You fill in some of the details on that, provide us with some example information that you do. We get the base 365 setup, or your internal IT or ICTT. We would work with them to get the base decisions installed, set up, and customized to your environment. We then have an onboarding session where we walk through, make sure everyone can access the app, everyone can see all of its features, and that everything is enabled. Once we've done that, we move into a couple of training sessions, and again, they're guided. We sort of concentrate on the pre-meeting, the in-meeting experience, and then the post-meeting experience. And then we have separate sessions for any members that might be interested in using it that way. Again, it's a tried and tested process. It works really, really well. And we tend to break the sessions down. And there's gaps between them. So it gives you a chance to go off and play in a sandbox to see how you get on. We come back, get back together again, and any challenges that you've faced, we can address those as we progress through the process. But that's probably enough from me.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, Steve, thanks very much for the demonstration. It's always great to watch, and there's always sort of new elements I see. And at council, we deployed this out of principle, seeing the usage triple actually of decisions, which is really exciting over the 12 months they've been using it. But if anyone does have any questions separately, please do reach out to any one of us. We're happy to answer, and we'll send a follow-up email afterwards. And obviously, as we said, we're at ADSO, so please do come and say hello. We'd love to have a chat with you as well. But otherwise, thank you, Steve, and thank you very much to Lance for coming to join us today. We really appreciate you giving up your valuable time, and for Kevin and the team. And we look forward to catching up very soon. So thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.